Good morning. So we were just actually laughing because we're saying every time the show starts, there's no prompt, so we always end up looking like two deers in headlights. But this morning, I think we actually got it, Julia.
We did
You
it.
right up the ball. Uh, good,
Oh,
good morning, everybody. And how was your weekend? How was your week? How's your day going? So, what did you do this weekend, Julia?
I attended Cape. I went to Cape on Saturday. Well, I've been having like, oh my God, like growing older is like so bad because you sleep a wrong way and you wake up the next morning and you can't fucking move. Oops, did I say the F
Bleep,
word? I'm
bleep, bleep.
sorry. Bleep, bleep. So yeah, so you can't move. Like I've been in pain. So I pulled out my Oculus last week and I started exercising again. And so I threw my shoulder the first day I used it. So then I was out of commission for a while and I was in really bad pain. I thought I had ripped my rotator cuff because I did it on this side like years and years ago. And
Oh,
so I
yeah.
thought, sure, I had ripped this one. But I'm like, how do you rip a rotator cuff by moving it? Like, like how does that happen? And then, I'm guessing I'm sleeping and my shoulder is hurting, so I'm
Mhm.
overcompensating because I don't want to turn on the side because it's
Yep.
hurting, and so I'm all stiff and I'm sleeping that way. And so I woke up with the worst freaking neck pain yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I can't move. Like, what the heck? Anyway, so yeah, I've been having a hard time. So, but I managed to make it to Cape. It was awesome. Like I interviewed Randy and Carol, who were celebrating their 10th year
And
anniversary.
I can't believe it because I remember when Cape just started, like
I
10 years.
know, like time
Unbelievable.
flies. It's crazy, but so yeah, I did like there's an interview on the website. You can go
Mhm.
and read it, guys. It's a good one, and but yeah, it was fun. It was packed. There was so many people, so many great costumes. There, everybody was in cosplay and great vendors. So it was a blast.
There's
It's
all
such
the,
a gem for Cornwall. It's such a
it is.
great event, I love this event. And I
I
was
just,
asking them, how do you keep on going for 10 years? Because we used to be doing them and we ran out of steam after
yeah,
a while, because
yeah,
it's a
shows.
lot of work, those shows.
Yep.
But yeah, he was saying, we're having fun and this is not really work. It's just, fun. So
Yeah, just like what I say, when you love what you do, you never feel like you're working a day in your life. So, I mean, and
exactly,
then look at
exactly.
Randy running Fantasy Realm. Like, do you feel that being surrounded by comics and all kinds of figurines and stuff is work? That's
Yeah.
fun. People go in, chat, talk about comics. No, he's got one of those great jobs. But it amazes me that because usually you don't see people walking around, in costume and this and that, and all of a sudden, all these people come out that are
Yeah.
like usually in regular dress or regular clothes, and they're all dressed up so differently. It's really it is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome, and it gives like everybody an occasion to be someone else for a day. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people know Annie DeRushi too. She does cosplay, and like I said, we did her wedding last weekend, and a lot of people came to the wedding in cosplay, so it was kind of very different. The whole wedding was unique, so
Yeah,
that was good. My voice is
awesome,
going.
awesome, awesome.
So yeah, I ended up while you were at Cape, I went to the launch of the Book Garden mobile bookstore at the Glengarry Market in Alexandria. Not quite as, huge of an event as you were at, but they had a whole bunch of local authors, and the book mobile store is very interesting because she'll pull up to events, open the doors, you go in, it's shelves on both sides of this little trailer. So she said that she can come, she'll be doing fairs. I mean, I'm sure you pull up at a wedding too if you have, like, bookworms getting married. Be something
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of
yeah,
neat.
something different. And then I went to the Business Sisters event on Thursday, they talked about networking with zero cringe. So it was awesome because you go to a networking event, you're always stressed out. You walk into the room, you don't know anybody. What are you supposed to do? So Chris from Women's Scotiabank Initiative was the one that did the talk, and she was so funny. We laughed from start to finish because some of the scenarios she was coming up with is exactly what happens at networking events, and she explained how to get around them and just work a networking event without stress. So that was
I
good.
thought it was a speed networking thing.
So it was. So anyway, she gave a talk. So I did two things that night. Yeah, I was in Cornwall at the youth engagement fair at the Civic Complex, which again was a great event. And then I drove out to Dunvegan because it's about, it's almost an hour's drive. And I made it there because I didn't want to miss her talk. So yeah, she
Yeah.
did talk, and then there was a speed networking on top of that. So it was good because you always like speed networking. You panic, but you get talking and discussing things with somebody, and the time is gone. Like 5 minutes has gone by. Move on to the next person. So no, it was a really good event. Thank you, Doreen Ashton Wagner, for putting those events together. Really,
Yeah.
really good.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
And then
Yeah, you were all over the place on Thursday, man. You were like here, there, and everywhere.
I know. I was trying to think how am I going to do it, but again, everything happens the way it's meant to. So it was all good. But today is a big day, election day.
It is a big day. It is a huge day. I think it's probably one of the biggest elections of all times. Like it's really it's a big one. And so I know we're going to be tonight. John Grow will be at the Eric Duncan camp, and I will be visiting Sarah and hopefully Mario and maybe Gordon if I can figure out where he's at. But it's an important day for a lot of people. There's a lot of work that went into those campaigns. Like they've given it their all. They've really, man, they were everywhere.
I know, and it was such a quick election too, just like the provincial. Like
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
back to back, and
But honestly, I'll be happy when it's done. I'm kind of like, oh my god, it's been taking a toll. Those two elections back to back. It's been really hard on people, and I'm hoping that whatever the results are, we can move on into a era where people start to see each other as people again and stop seeing each other as enemies. And, it's time to rebuild and to move on and to try to unify Canada rather than, divide.
yeah, it's been a little bit rough. It's everybody's like at each
It's
other's
been,
front
and
door,
like
and
we're seeing the stuff south of the border as well that's happening. It's like this weekend it was really broken because I was heartbroken because there was like a thread on Facebook, and some of the family members down there just started going at it against
oh
one
really?
another, and it was just like, oh my god, like why do you go on Facebook and do this shit? It's like, and they ended up like defriending each other and not speaking to
Oh
each other
my.
anymore, and like those are cousins, and you're like, oh my god, it's so sad. Like, anyways, I hope we can move past all that stuff.
I
So
hope so.
on go vote, people. It's today's the day. If you haven't done so in advance, go vote today, and we'll post the results later tonight. All right. So who do we have today, my Lise? We have a good show. We have a good topic.
Well, last week we had a great show. We talked about car accidents, and this week we're talking about emergency preparedness. And is our guest? Oh,
Yes, he
there
is.
he
I'm
is.
just gonna move this window and put him
Good
like that.
morning.
All right. Good
So,
morning.
so good morning. So today we have Deputy Fire Chief Leighton Woods with us, and we're going to be talking about something that we should all be doing all the time, and most of us don't. We're talking about emergency preparedness. And so, Chief Woods, when is Emergency Preparedness Week? I know we're coming up to it, but when does it actually officially start?
So first off, good morning, and thank you very much for the invitation to speak on this podcast. Absolutely an honor of mine and pleasure. So yeah, absolutely. May 4th to the 10th is officially Emergency Preparedness Week. So it is actually a week that's recognized here in the city of Cornwall. It's a
Mm-hmm.
provincial week and a federal week as well. So all three levels of government kind of recognize how important emergency preparedness is. So we all observe the same week throughout Canada.
And what exactly, I know it's emergency preparedness. What do we do that week?
Yeah, right. It's so hopefully we practice emergency preparedness throughout the year and being prepared for different things. But it's such a great question because what is emergency preparedness and what is it that we have to do? And so what this week is all about. This week the theme is plan for every season. And we use this week to highlight some of the things that we can do in the community as community partners, what we can do as individuals with our families, and then also to highlight what it is that our levels of government do to make sure that when emergencies happen, and when we speak about emergencies, it's the big weather, the loss of power.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
your everyday. Yeah, I'm a deputy fire chief, and we unfortunately respond to fires every day,
Mhm.
emergencies. What emergency preparedness is about is bringing it all to light and just educating everybody that interruption in our lives can happen at any point in time, and the best thing that we can do is be prepared individually because we all know what our weaknesses are and our vulnerabilities are. So this week is just about kind of highlighting that. It's to bring focus into that. Although we do practice emergency preparedness 365 days a year, all the time, and we definitely encourage that for everybody as well.
So, what is an emergency? Like, what kind of things can happen? Where
So
do
Yeah,
we
floods, I'm
start?
assuming
yeah,
floods, earthquake,
yeah. Oh,
tornadoes, which we don't get a lot of, but
hey, our fingers crossed. Although climate change, right, and we've seen
Yeah.
some more and more wind events happening. So exactly. So essentially emergencies happen every single day. Different things can rise to the level of what we would consider a municipal emergency, an emergency in the city of Cornwall. So those types of things are, and you mentioned some of them, the big weather incidents. So rainfall, wind events, something that may knock out our power for multiple days, where we've become so reliant on a lot of these things in our lives. It's second nature to us, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
the internet, even how we're conducting this podcast right now. It's if we didn't have the internet or if it went down, what are we going to do, right? And how can
what are
we
my kids going to do?
exactly right? I think of my poor children. If they lose data, it's like, oh, it's the end of the world.
The end of the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah, it
for
Yeah.
is.
sure.
So those are the types of things, and sometimes it all depends on where we are and in the community. Some areas have different types of emergencies that they're more prone to. Julie, you mentioned about tornadoes and that. We're not in an area that has those regularly, thank goodness, but there are other areas that do. So perhaps they should be more prepared for those types of things because it's more prone to happen. We all have very similar issues like for cold weather, the heat emergencies. If we have multiple days of snowstorm and you can't get out of your front door, can you manage for a few days without leaving your home? Those are the types of things that we talk about during this week and that we promote.
Yeah, and of course the biggest thing that we had was the ice storm.
Yes, yes,
I could
1998.
Oh my God, that was crazy. And a lot of people were out of power for weeks
Yep.
with that one. So that was definitely one that I don't even think we were prepared for that. I just
Well,
don't
and
think many people were.
so in my line of work and my colleagues throughout the communities, we used 1998, the ice storm, as if that were to happen today, what would happen? Back then, I lived just outside the city, and I was still living with my parents actually at that time, and we had a wood stove. We didn't rely on a lot of those external things that we do now. Cell phones and the internet wasn't really that big of a thing either, right?
No.
So we were more prepared, I would say, back then, and if that were to happen today, might be a different story. I think we'd have different challenges in the community of how we would get past some of those things as well.
Mhm. Like I remember when I was a kid, my dad, like we always had like our cold room was always full of food and canned good, and we had a fireplace. So if the heat went out, we were okay there, you know. And again, like you said, we didn't heavily rely on technology, and so for sure we were more prepared back then, I think. So when we speak about preparedness, like, are you promoting people to get like a survival kit or something?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are some of the things that we always talk about. So one of those is 72 hours. Be
Okay.
prepared for 72 hours to not rely on outside help. That could be, the city of Cornwall, perhaps, or a volunteer organization. In the city, we have about 50,000 individuals, and it would be difficult to help 50,000 individuals all at once. So we promote 72 hours. Be prepared for 72 hours. Having an emergency kit is paramount. Some of the
Mhm.
things that, as part of that kit, having water available. So again, just thinking of different types of emergencies that could happen. If you're not reliant on municipal water service, if you happen to live outside the city on a well and you lose power, well, you may now no longer have access to clean drinking water. So, you know, that emergency might be a little bit different, or your needs might be a little bit different than if you lived in the municipality, because our water is provided from our water purification plant and there's backup power and everything. So even if we lost power, we could still have water. So having water available, non-perishable food, definitely a
Mhm.
good thing. I have 3 children at home, and if I don't do groceries once a week, they eat me out of house and home. And so just having that supply available, flashlights, batteries for that flashlight, anything like solar powered. Great technology now that you don't rely on necessarily batteries or the electrical grid. Having battery or solar powered flashlights. Big thing now, which is again technology we talk about different than 1998, is our mobile device. We utilize that mobile device. Rarely is it far away from our hands. So having a mobile data charger, being able to charge our device. My son, I have a 10-year-old, and he is a prepper. I think he takes after his father, unfortunately, in some areas, but he has these really neat battery packs that are solar powered. So he can put them outside. They charge via solar, and he can plug his devices into it and not rely on electricity. So little things like that. Having medication available too, a form of communication. So again, our devices or our radio, we still do utilize radio for communication as well. Blankets and cash. We always forget about
Yeah.
cash. A couple of years ago, we had the outage of Interact, if we remember that,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
exactly right, and it really challenged some of us to, oh my god, I can't pay for things. I tap tap tap. We're so used to that. So having a little nest egg at home in a safe area of just some small bills is super important. And then just having copies of all your documents. We think of emergencies like a fire. If you lose all of your documents in your home, terrible tragedy, terrible. But the last thing you want to do now is trying to replace. You don't have identification. So it's just raising awareness about some of those little things that individuals can do, we can do as a community to promote it, that makes it easier on us should something like that happen.
Yeah, you're
And I
right.
think it's so easy nowadays with like having the digital version of all these documents. Like it's easy to just, snap a picture of them all and keep them in a safe spot. So at least, if yeah, because can you imagine you lose everything in a fire and you're nobody anymore. You have no ID. You're like,
Well, and
because
kids too,
you
like yeah, absolutely.
you
My
need
kids have birth certificates, right? All we all do, and
Hmm.
they're all replaceable. But just having to now go through that and replace them all, and so
right.
having copies is definitely a good idea to do as well.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
that's a good idea is to snap pictures of all that stuff.
Yeah,
Something I need to do too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
for
you can
sure.
keep, I mean, you can keep stuff like that in one of those little fire safe
yeah.
boxes too. Like, how long does something like that last in a fire, though?
So funny, I have one. So
Yeah, I do
the
too.
the preparedness side of me and the fire side of me, they're all different. So it's important to read the manufacturer's recommendations. Normally, it's a number of hours that they will
Oh,
last. Make sure that they're closed. So again, I'm guilty of it. Go in and get something, and I leave it open sometimes. Doesn't do it much good. So making sure
Mhm.
that it's closed, locked is always a benefit as well, so that they can do their full fire rating should that happen as well.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about Cornwall and the preparedness from the city. I'm assuming that you had like there's a risk assessment um ever so often, and I want to know what is the top threat, let's put it that way, that's been identified for the area here.
Great question. So yes, every year. So the emergency management falls under provincial legislation, and essentially there's legislation that says all municipalities need to have emergency preparedness organization or department. Every year we do a risk assessment, and we look at what has happened in our community in the past, what we project to likely occur, and if something were to occur, the impact that it has on our citizens and on the individuals in the community. Every municipality, we kind of share a lot of the same risks depending where we are. And then some municipalities do have unique risks. And I turn to places that have, Chalk River that has a nuclear facility. There's a risk of a nuclear incident occurring in Chalk River. Very low, and however, is a risk. We in the city of Cornwall, we do not have a nuclear facility, so that's one of the lower, very low items on our list, even if it even exists. So our highest in the city, which it actually is amongst a lot of municipalities, is weather, simply weather, cold weather and heat related weather. The reasons for that is that it impacts the most individuals. If we're looking at the past little bit, the past winter, the past summer, we're getting warmer and warmer and colder, respectively, times. And it affects the biggest amount of individuals in the city and surrounding areas. So, what we call systems on systems as well. So, if during a cold incident, if you lose power, well, now you potentially don't have heat. And that creates just an added incident to it as well. So those are kind of our top ones. Cyber is always near the top five as well. Cyber incidents, we live it every day. We the in the
We've
media.
seen it at the hospital.
That was
oh
exactly
my
was the
goodness.
example I was going to bring up was Cornwall Community Hospital. Lately,
Yeah.
the Upper Canada District School Board as well
Yep.
suffered a major cyber attack. My kids or my wife works for the school board, and just listening to some of the impact that something like that has on day to day life and day to day working is we've become so reliant on technology, and
Absolutely.
when it's not available, we kind of scramble a little bit, right? So those are the top ones. So what the city does actually as part of that is we do scenarios. We don't make it very
Okay.
public sometimes, but it's great during to let the public know that it's not just
Isn't there one going on like
that's it just happened actually. So that's I spent my
oh,
weekend out participating with the Canadian Armed Forces. So let's talk about that. So
Hmm.
Operation Trillium Venture. You might have seen it in the media, right? May have covered it. It many months of preparation, and it was a partnership between the City of Cornwall, the counties of SDNG, South Stormont, Province of Ontario, and the Canadian Armed Forces, with many agencies around. And it was a chance to work on collaborative efforts during an emergency. So we spent all day Friday during for a tabletop scenario. So we had over 100 individuals, multiple agencies represented. And if you can imagine 8 hours of just scenarios, and this is happening, what would you do? And then that culminated to the weekend event where they actually had Canadian Armed Forces military in the Long Sault Parkway and Ingleside Parkway and Farron's Point actually actioning some of those things as well. So it allowed us to really test our emergency preparedness and our emergency plans for the city as well. So that's an example of how we kind of prepare for as a municipality, is that we actually take some of these risks and we play it out and figure out where our weaknesses are, where we need to improve, so that should it happen, we're more and better prepared for it.
That must be so fun.
um, Fun, stressful. Obviously, you're in front of a lot of your colleagues, and the mayor attended, obviously, and the CAO, and all of our members here in the municipality. It's great thinking about these types of things. It's really fun to get together as a group and actually put it all together. Great learning environment, because we make mistakes. That's when you want to make them, and that's when you want to find holes in our emergency planning prior to it happening, right? So, we practice doing press releases, and our communications individuals practice getting information and putting out information, and how do you communicate? And now you don't have a cell phone. The cell phones are now down. How do so we throw numerous injects in to test our limits and to see where we're able to do. And every year we conduct that. Last year we conducted a large scale exercise as well, partnering with Enbridge, so our local gas distribution. And again, it's our opportunity to work with other agencies and work within ourselves and get better at what we do to try and mitigate some of these issues from happening.
So I want to address, Phyllis was asking why this was being addressed right now when this exercise already happened. And I just want to answer Phyllis that the reason why we're having Chief Leedon on the show today is because it is Emergency Preparedness Week starting next Monday, right?
Correct.
So that's why we're having him on today. So I want to ask, because you're talking about, communicating with the residents and everything, what kind of systems are in place to inform the public about what's happening? Like, are there sirens? Is there text emergency? Like, how are the people going to know if there's an emergency and what they should do?
Because we all know that when something happens, everybody goes on Facebook and starts making things up or whatever and trying to find out what's going on. So how do we really know what's going on?
Great question again. So yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. Social media is amazing. It's also sometimes a little more difficult and creates a few challenges for us as well. Some of the misinformation, I think, that goes out, and how do you control that? So in the city of Cornwall, we have several different mechanisms. What I would always encourage anyone listening is follow official channels, follow the reputable sources to get your information. You two as a great example. If it's coming from you, you're hopefully it's validated, and it's actually, this is the information that we're receiving from official channels. So following your local recognized media, always good. We have great communication with those local media. We have the RAVE system. So the RAVE system in the city is a mass notification system. I encourage anyone to go to our website, the cornwall.ca website, and you can sign up. And that platform is utilized for not everyday things. So you're not going to get inundated with, something's happening, coming up. It's only utilized during emergency situations. Our main user right now is actually for water main breaks. So we have the ability, you can register your property, you can register your address. And if your property potentially is affected by, say, a water main break, we can send out an automatic notification to at least let you know, this has happened. We're working towards fixing it. I use Hydro One as an example. If you live outside the city, you can sign up for Hydro One's alert. And if you lose power, you'll get a text message saying, hey, you've lost power, just FYI. The other methods that we'll utilize, so we do have access to the Alert Ready system. So what some people listen to as the Amber Alerts, that's called Alert Ready.
The ones that wake you up in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
And you have a heart attack.
What is happening to that? So that is the only broadcast intrusive platform in Canada that allows, we have access to it as well. We have to go through the province to request it. And in a big emergency, we could utilize the Alert Ready system as well to put out a message to our, the city or the citizens to say, this is happening, be aware of it. And so those are some of the methods that we utilize. Regular channels as well, our social media, the City of Cornwall has press releases, our website, some of those known and recognizable platforms are always a good source. But I can't say it enough, I would caution, make sure it's reputable. Don't go down the rabbit hole sometimes of this is happening and that is happening. We have great communications folks, and they do their best to try and keep up with that as well. But it can be a challenge.
Yeah, they're very good at informing us, anyways. So, and we in turn, turn around and inform the community. All right, awesome.
Well, that was one of the things that we talked about with Andrew Booth Reddick last week too, that a lot of people are actually reporting accidents when they happen, where they happen, avoid this area. And, and most of those things are true. But say Facebook is down, computers are down, everything is down, then what?
I'm going home. That's what's happening after that.
Then
the
what
apocalypse is happening. No. So it goes back, right? It goes back to what we were used to a number of years ago, where we didn't rely on all those platforms, and we become more reliant, which is great. I would always revert back to our radio stations. So again, we do broadcast. We do have local radio stations here, right in the city of Cornwall. Amazing to have some local media, which is always fantastic. I love it. There you go. See?
Get yourself one of these, people.
Yep.
Radio.
I've got a couple on my shelf here. Crank, the old, not old, but they're the crank ones, right? Because you think you're still going to be able to broadcast. So being able to broadcast, our local radio stations have great reach, very powerful antennas, able to reach out very far. We can put out print as well, a little bit slower to get out, right? Obviously. And then beyond that, if we needed to, we can actually go door to door as well. If there's a big emergency in the city, so the city has actually prepared and practiced, and we have policy or plans in place to be able to go door to door on every property in the city with a team. We have 1,000 employees in the city. Not all are going to be integral to the emergency, so we would reassign employees to do this. But we've practiced that. We've rehearsed that as well. So being able to go literally door to door, handing out flyers if the need arises. But definitely our best reach is not necessarily going to be one method. So we always try and do multiple methods to reach the most populace that we can.
I mean, Marlies, let's face it, it would have to be pretty drastic for, it'd have to be a nuclear event, right? For the phones to go, the electricity to go, all communications to be stopped. You're talking about something nuclear or some very, very.
Hopefully, not under my watch.
No.
Or
even if there was something triggered in Ottawa or Toronto, I think we're not in
that bad
range, but
but I know whenever our internet does go down, Julia and I panic, because we rely on that every single day. It's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do now?
What am I gonna do now? And so I take it we don't have one of those sirens that just go.
No, we don't. No, and but we're such an adaptable society, and even as a municipality, we don't have just one plan. we have multiple variations. If plan A doesn't work, we can't just put our hands up and say, well, it will
We
fix
tried.
it will
Yeah.
fix itself. The crest on my shoulder says a little bit different. That's why I work in emergency services, so people call us to obviously help them and solve an issue that they're having. So some of the alternative plans, emergency vehicles. So funny you say loudspeaker. All of our emergency vehicles have PA systems on them. Every one of them.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So all the ambulances, police vehicles, the fire trucks, all in the city, some of our public works vehicles as well. So we can literally drive around communities if we needed to, broadcasting a message, loudspeaker.
Right,
Okay.
right, right.
So no, we don't have the evacuation, the big air raid sirens. However, we can actually do some of those things as well. And again, that's probably plan D or E, but we can definitely do that as well if we needed to.
The only time I hear it usually is during the Santa Claus parade.
Yes, yes. We like to be loud and proud and play some nice music during that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
so I actually live out in South Glengarry, so I'm sure the counties have something like that in place as well, like where they can go
Correct.
door to door, or probably with the vehicle that drives around, or because again, we're out of the city.
It's very reassuring to hear that, you've
Hmm.
got like several plans in place, and that, especially like, what resonates to me is like the 1,000 employees
Yep,
going door to door. Like that'd be like 50 doors each, really,
yep.
if you
Yeah.
split it in. So that's great. It's great to hear. So, emergency preparedness week, like what's happening during that week? What are you guys going to be at different spots training, like?
So we're utilizing that week and leading up to it. Obviously, I'm here today, which is again, thank you so much for that. Lots of interviews during that week. I get to blast my face across every media platform they can think of. I'm told I have a voice or a face for radio, but hey, I'll give it my best shot. So lots of media, lots of advertisement going out. We'll be It's difficult to put everything into a week. When we attend events, we bring emergency preparedness messaging with us. Um, we were just at a couple of events there, the home and leisure show, the expo that we were
Yep.
at. We were there promoting emergency preparedness then. So I want to just make sure. Yes, it's the week, but we do promote throughout the year as well. We're putting out some mailers, some flyers. We've got advertisements with, again, yourselves, our local media as well. I got to record some radio advertisement as well, which is great. And then a couple more interviews as well. Like I said, a few more interviews planned that week as well, and then hopefully may get a little spot on council as well. A little shout out to council. That's always nice to have. And then
Hmm.
again, this week's about raising awareness that throughout the year, we'll continue having this conversation. It's not a week and it's done. Emergencies can happen at any point in time, and it's really important to be prepared during at all times.
Yeah, it's
I
like a
know.
fire drill on steroids.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that's another thing, like within the household, yes, you make a 72-hour emergency kit, but then you also need to get together with everybody in the house and say there's a fire. How do we get out?
Mhm.
Have that kind of an emergency drill as
And what
well.
about animals? What do you do with animals?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple points. Again, the fire drills, having that meeting, the escape plan,
Hmm.
so important, so important, and I can't promote that enough. Yes, we're talking about emergency preparedness and the global thing, but I have to do a shout out for even working smoke alarms. Please, 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 everyone who's listening, go make sure you have working smoke alarms in your homes. Some fires happen at night when we're sleeping, unfortunately. Those sometimes are the first things that will wake us up. So if I can
I
throw
want
it,
to ask
go
I
ahead.
want to ask something about smoke alarms. So, now they come out with these 10-year.
Yep.
Are they really reliable?
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
So we actually promote them. So Cornwall Fire Services, we promote a combination, so smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. There's a myth actually. So carbon monoxide alarms are not actually required in all areas. So we encourage it, but you don't have to have them because if you don't have a fuel burning appliance or an attached garage, essentially you can't make carbon monoxide so in your home. However, we promote having the dual, so smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm, and then the 10-year battery, the sealed battery. Reasons for that: they are fully certified, ULC, CSA standard. They're fully certified and endorsed. You don't have to worry about the battery. You don't have to worry about changing the battery. You should test it monthly, absolutely. At the end of the 10 years, you throw them out and you get a new one. So we are, one of our themes, right, in fire services is the clock, change your clocks and you change your batteries. Well, we're actually, again, encouraging that you don't need to do that. If you have the 10-year lifespan, again, 10 years, you throw it away and get a new one. Very simple. Maintenance is really important on them, though. Keeping them clean, dusting them. Dirt can get inside them. So if you're experiencing false alarms, they're going off. Those are some of the things that we see when we respond to these calls. But yes, great devices, as long as they're from reputable, no different than anything else. Reputable companies, absolutely. They're really good to have.
And we should probably remind people what happens if there's a fire and the fire alarms were not changed and the batteries were dead. I think your insurance might contest paying you. So
yeah, and again, I flip hats a little bit. Right now, I'm back to the fire, and it's the last. No, hey, I appreciate it because the last few fires that Cornwall Fire Service has been to here in the city, we've had issues with having working smoke alarms, and we push that out a lot. We push that out through the media, through our press releases, because it's not to shame. It's not to, this happened. It's to try and raise awareness and just to really say, wow, this could happen to me and my family. So it's so important to go back. Any platform I can use to talk about working smoke alarms, I definitely will. And just encourage everybody to make sure you have them. And if you have any questions about them, contact us. Contact Cornwall Fire Services. Contact your local fire service. If you don't live in the city, more than happy to come and answer those questions for anybody.
Awesome.
So I'm sure you've been to a lot of emergencies where you've seen how the emergency preparedness plan works. Can you think of anything that really stands out where people have really had a great plan and that helped?
So,
or do you have any stories about people that don't have a plan?
those are usually the easier ones to find, because you don't hear about the other ones. You don't hear about whenever there's no problems, right? We all just kind of do our thing, and we don't require any help. So, prior to being in the fire service, I was a paramedic here in the city for about 15 years, and we responded to obviously a lot of emergencies in the city and in SDNG, and those were local emergencies, right? Medical emergencies. And whenever I look now to my role now is bigger. And what I mean by that is I look at the entire municipality, not just an individual emergency, someone's having a heart attack, etc. I look at, when was that? We had a large windstorm here. I think it was last year over in Riverdale. And lots of trees down, loss of power, etc. And the municipal response to that, and even individuals, people lost power. They were without power for a number of hours, and it all just worked, and people were prepared for it. What I will say, though, and what we've noticed throughout the province and throughout all of my colleagues, is that we're becoming, as a society, less and less prepared for things to go wrong when we're not used to them happening. And I'll use this a little bit. I'll add on to that as an example. Hydro One and Cornwall Electric. So we have great partnerships with those both entities, and they've undertaken mitigation strategies to prevent power outages. Makes sense, right? We don't want to lose power. So they go around to all their lines and they cut all the brush, all the trees, to eliminate a branch falling on it. We lose power. So now, again, I date myself a little bit, but go back 15, 20 years, a little bit of a windstorm, you'd lose power for a couple hours, not a big deal. We were all used to it. we don't lose power as often anymore. And I look back to the little bit of ice storm that we had, was the beginning of April, maybe February or March, sorry, where the city actually fared fairly well. We escaped a lot of that. Areas north of Toronto were hit very hard. We had a few outages here and there, but a lot of us don't have the backup power. We don't have the generators anymore. Where 10, 15 years ago, it was second nature to have a generator sitting in your backyard somewhere, being able to power things. So what we're finding is that overall, individuals are just a little bit more less prepared. And what this week's about is trying to re-encourage and reinvigorate individuals to say, yeah, 98% of the time, it works perfectly fine. However, 2%, are you okay to live with 2% of the time? And again, we look at the Interact outage. Could you get by? Could you get groceries? That type of thing. So, to give you an example of when a time really happened that we saw preparedness, we're seeing less and less of them, which is interesting because we're becoming so prepared as a society, and municipalities as well. All of our facilities here in the city of Cornwall have backup generators now. We have multiple redundancies that if we do have an incident, it doesn't necessarily impact a lot, which is great. Honestly, we're seeing a lot more are less likely to have incidents, but cautious. And the caveat is that I think we're a little bit less prepared sometimes for these incidents as well. So, yeah.
That's funny. It surprises me because I was under the impression that the survivalist movement was really gaining grounds and a lot of people were kind of getting more prepared, but maybe not. Like there's a thing about social media and everything, right? You see a lot of this stuff and we tend to stay in our bubble, and maybe my bubble is just more more prepared.
And we encourage all that, and we encourage neighbors. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your community, know who your neighbors are, and maybe help each other out. Right, as a society, we need to do that better, and we need to be able to help each other as humans. And I definitely encourage to know everybody and know who's around you, and lend a helping hand. Volunteer, get out there, help the community, and together we'll all get through whatever life throws at us. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So if you see somebody that needs help, try and help them, guys.
Please. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will let you go. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us today. And I'm sure we'll see your face again in the next few weeks.
Oh, sorry for that, but yes, thank you very much for the invitation, and it was absolutely my honor and pleasure to be here today.
And
Perfect.
it makes everybody feel better that we have so many plans in place for things.
We are prepared as a municipality.
Yeah.
Are we going to do it 100% right? I'm not going to say that, but we have practiced. We have plans in place, and we are resilient, and we will get through it. Absolutely.
Well, perfect. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Okay, so I just want to go over something real quick on the topic. So I want to give people a little bit of a rundown of what to put in their emergency preparedness kit. We're talking about water. So typically about 2 to 4 liters per person per day. So if you're doing this for 72 hours, like you should plan for like 3 days. So 2 to 4 liters per person. Then food, obviously canned food, granola bars, peanut butter, like the kind of stuff that you can store. A manual can opener, don't forget that, because then you won't be able to open your cans if you don't have one of those. Flashlights, batteries, phone chargers, battery powered or crank radio. Then a first aid kit, so bandages, tweezers, antiseptics, your prescription medication, personal hygiene items, face masks if you need them. Because if you're like downstairs in a basement and it's really dusty, you might want to wear a face mask not to breathe all that stuff. Whistle, they're suggesting duct tape, your important documents, so your personal identification copies, emergency contact list, your insurance, your home papers, any medical information that you need, like allergies and stuff, extra clothing, shoes, blankets, or sleeping bags, cash again, baby supplies and pet supplies if you have babies and pets,
Yeah.
and of course, like extra set of eyeglasses, otherwise you're in shit, and small games and stuff like playing cards, or if you're going to spend a lot of time waiting, you might want to have some cards, or and then they suggest like your important keepsakes, photos, or whatnot.
Yeah, you're right. And well, you said clothing and blankets and stuff like
Yes,
that,
and
obviously.
shoes and socks, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's not something we think about. And then, of course, if in case of a fire, and this isn't something people do either, go around your rooms and take photos because if you have a fire, you're not going to remember everything that was there. And some stuff
Hmm.
is valuable. You're not going to remember. So
Hmm.
take photos as much as you can.
Yeah, of your valuables anyways.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't need to take every single thing, but anything that's valuable that you may not remember.
Hmm. Yep. So,
Ah,
um, what else is there to say today? You have some events that you want to talk about, or?
there, there are a few events. We are working on the May Seeker. We're going to print, so this is your last chance to send in anything that you might need to. Remember to share your events on our Facebook group, the SDG&A Cornwall Seeker Local Events and Community Happenings group. It's a huge group. We have a lot of traction, so we can help you. If you've got some event going on, we can help you advertise it. And the
And
best thing to do,
if you share it to the Facebook group, it automatically go
yeah.
to our website event list.
Well, if you create a Facebook event,
Yeah, if you have a Facebook
yeah,
event and you share it on the Facebook group, it'll go automatically to that.
exactly. Other than that, today Spirit Tree yoga begins. Beginner yoga, which starts today till the 9th of June. It's something I've been thinking would be good to start, but I haven't got that far
Well,
yet.
going back to what we were talking about this before the show started. Hold on, I don't like seeing myself so big, so I'm just gonna move it like this.
You mean
Um,
trying to get
I I
ourselves supple and stretching and stuff like that, you mean?
I think, yeah, I think it would be probably a gentle way to
Yeah.
move and not break something in the process. Like Jesus, like you just move and oh, I broke my arm now. Yeah.
I,
Anyway,
I have to laugh every
yoga
time
sounds good.
you go on Facebook and then you see that image of that person that's kind of sneezed, put their back out, peed their pants, you know, done this or that. There's a,
God, I'm too young to
crazy.
be this old. It's
But it's
crazy.
true. You got to laugh at that, but it really does happen.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons smile cookies, I believe, are starting today. So you can go out and buy one
Yeah.
of those for a good cause. And Friday, May 2nd, Rose Devant has a dance-a-thon. There's a lot of stuff going on towards the end of the week. Saturday, May 3rd, there's a spring plant sale from 9 to noon at 1304 Leesview Street in Cornwall. And Saturday, May 3rd also is free comic book day at Fantasy Realm from 10 to 5.
Okay.
Mother's Day is coming up. So Saturday, May 3rd, you have a Mother's Day market from 10 to 4 at Cornwall Square. And on the same day, Beyond 21's hosting a Beyond Wonderland Mad Hatter's Tea Party as a fundraiser. That sounds like quite an interesting event.
Oh.
Yeah, like say lots of stuff on the weekend. Saturday seems to be a super busy day as always. RoboCop is playing at the Port Theatre, and Eltsville Theatre has Zachary Stevens' tribute to Buddy Holly. So lots to go and check out, as well as Sunday, May 4th, somewhere where I'm going to be going, is the 17th Women's Day event in Alexandria at the
Mm-hmm.
Glengarry Sports Palace. I love that event. They have great goodie bags, $10 a goodie bag. You have to be there at the crack of dawn, 9:30, because they have a limited number. There's a lineup, and those bags are wonderful. So get there early. And the Glengarry Encore Photo Club presents its photo art show at Sunfield Center in Alexandria this Saturday, May 3rd, and Sunday, May 5th. I'm going to be checking that out as well. So, like, say, if they have anything going on during the week, let us know. But that's a lot of weekend events.
It
Next
is.
week's show is our appraisal show. So again, if you've got something old hanging around the house and you want to check out and see if it's worth something, send that into appraisals at theseeker.ca, right, Julia? I got a
Yes.
little bit of a, is that
I
what it is?
gotta I gotta address the comment that just came up. Like, I'm so sorry we haven't been um doing the Keeping It Real show. Mateo has been it was like finals for the last like month. It was pretty intense at university, so and the time and the day did not really work for us. So we're gonna be starting again this Sunday, so we're having a new day and a new time. So this Sunday there will be the Keeping It Real podcast starting over.
Sunday, at what time was that? I mean,
So we're still in discussion about the time.
okay.
Like, I want 7, Mateo wants 4. So we're kind of like, but we'll be posting something on the Facebook page about it. But yes, we're starting again, and we will be. I promise this time we will be constant.
Yeah, at least with Monday morning motivation, we've been pretty good since
We've been
January.
we've
10
been
o'clock Monday mornings. We've only had a couple of technical issues that we haven't been able to do it, but I'm proud of us. We've actually kept this one up.
we've been all right. We've been all right. And like the viewership has been really great. I hate that Facebook has a thing now that it takes the lives down after 30 days. So we can't really see
Oh,
the stats or anything after 30 days. Like the videos stay on our YouTube, but that's really not where our viewers come from. Like, our viewers are mainly from Facebook and X.
yeah.
YouTube, we have a little following, but not that big. Uh, so I just want to say thank you for everybody who's been watching. Like, I want to say, for the Sarah Good and Gordon Kubanek interview that we've had, let me just go and fetch it right quick. I don't, like, it was pretty amazing. I know that Kojiko had their debate on, and they had it on YouTube, and they got something like 2,000 views. But our little video
Yeah,
for Sarah Good and Gordon Kubanek got, as of today, 6.4K views,
that's
6.4
awesome.
thousand, 6,400 views. So pretty proud of that one, and very happy. Like, our um most of our shows do at least 500 views every week. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and keep on watching.
It definitely motivates us to keep doing it, right, Julia?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Like, that's one of the main reasons we had stopped in the first place,
yeah,
because we were finding that we were putting a lot of energy into this without getting like the reach that it should be
yeah.
getting. So um anyway.
So
All right, guys.
I do want to say one thing though. If you want to check out all our lives, you can go onto the seeker.ca, go under the menu bar, it'll say videos, and I think you put them all there, right? And they
It's the
say that.
YouTube, like, it's the YouTube feed that goes on there. So you can either go to youtube.com/the
Okay.
seeker, and or just go to our website, theseeker.ca, and look for the videos. They're all there.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of them are quite old and they're quite funny.
Yeah.
Check some of them out. So thank you so much for listening. We
And we hope that you have a great day. Don't forget to vote.
and have yourself a super duper week.
Bye for
Bye for
now.
now.